Welcome back, everyone. Dustin here again, Average Guy Hi-Fi. I've got another subwoofer review for you. To be truthful, I've got a ton of subwoofers right now. I think I've got like 6 laying around that I still need to do reviews on, but I ended up popping into my local Best Buy a couple days ago and found this in the open box section. Same thing as I did that Marantz amplifier review. That was a Best Buy purchase, open box as well too. So I'm known to kind of frequent that area of Best Buy. But what I have sitting right here next to me is an SVS SB-2000. This is the oak cabinet version, so it has kind of that finish on it. I've actually owned this subwoofer in pairs. I bought it when SVS had a sale, probably about 4 years ago, I would say. I got dual gloss SB-2000s, and I just loved them. The place was a little bit smaller, if that's even imaginable, compared to this place. This place is about 600 square feet. The place that I had them in before was about 500 square feet. And dual 12-inch SVS subwoofers in 500 square foot total house was pretty awesome, to be honest with you guys. So, but we'll just kind of jump right into the specifics of this subwoofer. Many of you know this. This has been reviewed a bunch of times, but again, I just couldn't pass up on the deal when I saw it. So, popped to that Best Buy, went over to the open box section, and they had this subwoofer sitting there for $500. Now, this subwoofer has an MSRP of $700, just to give you guys an idea. But I'll show you what the issues were, and I weighed all these before I purchased it, and definitely still thought it was a good deal. But if you can kind of see right there on the cabinet, has that kind of gouge right there. That's pretty much the only real cabinet damage. There is a little bit of a smash corner down here as well too, but you can't really see it. But the main issue would be the grill. You know, SVS has this nice kind of, well, this is a love it or hate it grill. Some people love it. Some people hate it. But this looks like it was dropped at some point. So the grill little grommet down here has a little bit of an issue trying to get this to fit in. It does fit in. You just need to kind of wiggle it into place. So those are the issues with it. But again, the sales guy had a price tag of $500 on it. I wasn't really interested at that price. It's worth that, especially if somebody's going to use it. But for my purposes, I need to buy this stuff to be able to kind of get my money back out of it. Otherwise, I'll go broke quickly. So I was like, yeah, okay, the damage probably isn't going to do it for me. He's like, well, how about if I take $100 off? So he did, and I ended up walking out with the subwoofer for $400 plus tax, so $440 here in my local area. I know that I'll be able to sell it for that, but I'm planning on keeping this as just my normal kind of day-to-day subwoofer, and then trying to keep an eye out for another one. So I'll just run these as kind of my normal setup. You know, in between subwoofers when I'm testing them out and everything. And then, you know, down the road, who knows? Plans might change. They always seem to change with my setup. So the dimensions of this subwoofer are, it's about 14.5 inches tall. It's about 14.5 inches wide. And it's about 15.5 inches deep. Weighs about 60 pounds, so it's a nice little sturdy subwoofer. Comes with the Sledge amplifier on the back. It's the STA500D amplifier, so it is a 500 watt RMS amplifier. They say 1100 watts peak on the amp, like on the amplifier specifications, and it just kind of has your normal setup. Has the volume control, has the phase control, and then it has the low pass filter, and then obviously the auto standby on and off. So that's kind of the rundown of this subwoofer. Again, I'm familiar with it already. It's a killer subwoofer, especially considering the size, but we'll go over there. I'll put on Ready Player One since I was just reviewing that shoe subwoofer and the other SVS subwoofer, and I actually picked up another SVS subwoofer yesterday, so kind of a lot of SVS subwoofers floating around here, and I got some REL subwoofers as well too. So those will all be kind of on the future videos that are coming up here. So we'll jump over there. We'll let you guys watch or listen to it since we're not watching it. Let Ready Player One. We'll just go ahead and do the race scene. That seems to be the my favorite scene for showing the excursion of a subwoofer. So and then I'll keep the microphone kind of at main listening position like I always do. If I keep the microphone too close to these subwoofers in this small place, it just really distorts it pretty badly, and you guys have been giving me input on that. So I won't turn it up as loud as I normally do, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So stay tuned. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that demo of Ready Player One. Again, that scene with the race scene and everything has some good deep stuff, especially when Kong comes out and starts smashing stuff. So definitely recommended. I know I might get copyrighted eventually because I'm playing audio of a lot of these movies, but I'm just trying to show you movies that I really like and I think that people should own. So hopefully that helps me a little bit. But anyway, we'll just jump right into it. Now we're on to my favorite section of the video where it's just I give you guys my overall impressions of this speaker. And then we're just on to the next. So there's 5 categories. We go off quality, we go off bass, we go off the MSRP pricing, we go off the aesthetics, and then we also go off my price paid. Each category is worth up to 10 points. We just average those categories out and then give you guys the average Guy Hi-Fi score at the end of the video. So we'll just jump right into it. From a quality standpoint, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I like the quality of SVS subwoofers. I always have. They usually use nice quality woofers, nice thick surrounds, feels like a stout woofer itself. The boxes are nice and sturdy. You know, this thing weighs 60 pounds, so it's a pretty stout little subwoofer, especially compared to some of the more entry-level models that are out there. The Sledge amplifier seems to be a nice, reliable amplifier. If you guys are on the forums, you'll know that amplifiers on subwoofers are probably, I would say, the thing that's the most prone to failure, subwoofer amplifiers. So, but you don't read too much about these Sledge amplifiers and SVS. I'm sure there's some one-offs and things like that out there, but overall, Sledge seems to make some high quality amplifiers. That and all mixed with the metal grill, you know, like getting something that heavy duty with the grill. You know, I like the metal grill. It just depends on when I'm using it. The cloth grill is a little bit more sleek looking, but this is actually kind of more of a statement piece. But it just makes it stick out about 1.5 inches, 2 inches farther without it. So quality standpoint, 9 out of 10. When it comes to the bass response, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I like sealed 12-inch subwoofers. You know, in my smaller places, the smaller rooms that I've always had my home theater gear set up in, there's just something with my ears, sealed 12-inch subwoofers seem to just check a lot of the boxes. You know, like that Martin Logan Abyss subwoofer that I just reviewed is a prime example. I like that subwoofer a lot. I think it gets nice and deep. It's not going to go as low or have as much kind of home theater slam when you go with the bigger woofers and the bigger ported boxes and things like that. But for smaller rooms, I'm hardly using this subwoofer's capabilities. It gets nice and low with authority. It doesn't feel like it's straining too hard. So bass response, 8.5 out of 10. Nice deep bass, articulate, it's clean. There's no boominess to it, and I hate boomy subwoofers. There's been a couple that I've had recently that just, you know, the boominess just doesn't sit well with me. This has zero boominess, especially if you get it positioned in your room correctly. 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the bass response. I also gave it an 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the MSRP. This is a $700 subwoofer. If you went on SVS, well, now they have the SVS SB-2000 Pro, which has the app, a little bit different amplifier, a little bit different woofer. It's supposed to be a better subwoofer, but you know, at $700 for this subwoofer, it's a very good deal. 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the MSRP pricing. The reason it wasn't rated higher is because then you can start actually picking up like those Bic subwoofers, a pair of those for less than a single SVS subwoofer. Now, I much rather prefer the SVS subwoofer, but you can get away with something, especially that speed woofer that's out there too. That thing seems to be making waves. I want to get my hands on one of those for review as well too. So 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the MSRP. Over the years, I know people are probably going to give me crap for this, but over the years, SVS seems to be increasing their prices with every generation. Now, a lot of manufacturers are just because of shipping and, you know, the supply chains and all that type of stuff. But the reason that SVS is where it's at today is because it was making a lot of high-quality subwoofers under $1,000, and now it just seems that they're making some that are $2,000, you know, when it comes to the PB16, which looks like an amazing subwoofer, but that starts getting pretty expensive. So what made them really popular back in the day seems like they're getting a little bit away from that. At least that's an outsider looking in. SVS knows what they're doing. Their business looks like it's out of control right now. They're selling more than ever. So I'm probably wrong on that end of things. But there's brands like Shure that are kind of sticking to that budget-minded base. So if you spend the same amount of money on a Shure subwoofer and the same amount of money on an SVS subwoofer from a performance standpoint, as long as you're comparing apples to apples, I would imagine that the Shure's got the edge on the SVS subwoofers now. Same with PSA. That's another brand that makes some very beastly subwoofers for reasonable prices. That would be much more expensive with SVS. So again, nothing wrong with the way SVS is doing business. They're probably the #1 subwoofer manufacturer out there. They got to be close anyway, with how many they sell and how many are popping up on the used market. they sell a ton of them. I personally bought 6 directly from SVS, and I brought 15 or so on the used market, so they're definitely around. 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the MSRP. I gave it a 9 out of 10 when it comes to the aesthetics. I like the looks of this subwoofer. The speaker grill, again, that's a love it or hate it relationship. I'm probably going to run these as soon as I find the other one. I'm going to run these in a dual configuration with no speaker grill on there. But I like the rounded corners. I like the black driver. I like how compact the subwoofer is. So it kind of blends into my little rooms a little bit better than a lot of the other ones that I've had. So I gave it a 9 out of 10 when it comes to the aesthetics. When it comes to my price paid, anytime you can pick up something, especially because it comes with the 5-year warranty from Best Buy, so it has the same warranty. It's considered a new sub. It's an open box sub. Somebody probably brought it home. Looks like they might have dropped it, unfortunately, which caused the damage that we're talking about. But again, it's a $700 subwoofer. I ended up getting it for $440, including tax, with the factory warranty. So very good deal. If I end up selling it, it might sit a little bit longer on the secondhand market because of the damage. But honestly, when you get the subwoofer in place, you're not going to notice that damage hardly at all, especially where I'm putting them. So I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 when it comes to my price paid, and that's mainly due to the damage. If this thing was pristine and I paid $440 at the store, I would have given it a 9 out of 10 all day. But the damage does have to be factored in when I'm doing my score. So we got the quality a 9, we got the base response at 8.5, we got the MSRP rating at 8.5, we got the aesthetics a 9, and we got the price paid a 6.5. That averages out to 42 out of 50, which is an 84% average Guy Hi-Fi score. And I'm planning on keeping this and adding one more, like I mentioned. So the plan, people might be like, oh, why are you only giving it an 84% if you like it so much? Well, again, this is the totality of all those categories, and that's how I'm coming up with my scoring system. So even though it only scored an 84 and some other subwoofers have scored in the 90s, I like this subwoofer and I'm planning on keeping it, but with everything all added up, that's where it falls into place when it comes to the average Guy Hi-Fi scoring. So again, I just hit 1,100 subscribers today, so, it's really off to the races. You guys have been great. Thank you for the support. Thank you for asking questions. All that type of stuff is helping me hopefully help you guys get some good deals out there. So if you're looking on the secondhand markets, if you're trying to build a home theater on a budget, reach out to me, ask me questions. I'd love to try to help you guys. That's one of the cool things of this channel. We're just trying to highlight that you don't have to spend $20,000 on a theater room, and even that's on low end for some people. They're like, I have $20,000 on my amplifier. So they can get crazy expensive, but the good news is you can get very good quality sound without, a fraction of that. $2,000, somebody gave me $2,000, I could build them a pretty awesome home theater system on the secondhand market. So that's kind of the point of this channel, just to kind of give you guys some advice and let you know my feedback on the hundreds of subwoofers and the hundreds of speakers I've owned over the years. So if you guys are into it, please subscribe, help me spread the word. It's working. And thank you guys all again for all the support.